You are listening to the Love and Confidence Podcast, episode number 109. Welcome to the Love and Confidence Podcast. If you're a woman who wants to feel more irresistible, have more fun, and create deeper and more authentic connections, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help you become the best and most confident version of yourself so you can attract the love life you desire. Let's get started. What do you say if I say dating in midlife? After 40 or 45, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's just hopeless? That all the good ones are gone and you are not 25 anymore and dating is not what it used to be before the apps? If you think like this, then you want to listen to this episode. Because here I'll share with you the upsides of dating later in life and why dating today comes with so much more possibilities and the same or even less disadvantages as when you were 25. And I will also debunk some of the negative beliefs that you might have about dating in midlife and share with you why they are not true. So I became single at 49 myself and I dreaded the idea of dating again. I had no experiences whatsoever with the dating apps. They were just not a thing last time I was single. And my impression was that it was such a superficial way of dating. I also thought it would be impossible to meet someone who was interesting, smart, funny, and just around my age and also took good care of himself. So I talk about my journey in episode 22, so you can go back and listen to that for the details. But I will say I was surprised of how much attention I got in the dating apps and how many men who wanted to match with me, literally of all ages. And I did feel so much more confident and on top of things when I dated at age 49 and 50, even if I was dating in a different country, language, and culture. Already the fact that the question of if I wanted children or not, that was never on the table. And as someone who never had a big desire to have children, not having to explain that anymore, that was a relief for me. And I also felt in general there was less pressure on finding someone as I kind of did have that long relationship in my life. So it wasn't like the one I was looking for, it was more the next one. And the purpose of dating was to find someone with whom I could enjoy life, have fun, travel, go out, and experience life with in general. And I wasn't in a hurry and also wasn't determined that it had to be a long-term relationship, especially because at the time I didn't know how long I was going to stay in Paris. So I just wanted someone to share my adventure with and experience the city and go out and have fun and of course also create a deep connection. And so I dated both on the dating apps and organically. And again, you can hear my story in episode 22. So what are the 3 reasons dating in midlife is more fun and easy than when you were 25? The first one, and probably the biggest one, is that you have more self-awareness. This means you know yourself more, you know what's important to you, and you know what you're looking for in a partner. You have intentions and you can be much more true to them and not let yourself be distracted by someone who's hot but not able to offer you the relationship you want. And especially if you have processed your past relationships, you are now at a stage where you also very clearly know what you don't want, the patterns you don't want to repeat, and the personality traits that you would have fallen for in the past, but that you now are wise enough to keep a distance to. And also, you might not even feel attracted to this type anymore. You have done the mistakes and you've seen how it goes, and now you're ready to try something different. As if you were doing grocery shopping and you have a shopping list with you and you trust that you will get the things on the list and not come home with 1 million other items because you were tempted in the moment. That creates a more calm and less stressful journey. I think this self-awareness also leads to less of the game playing and more authenticity and honesty. And I don't know if this is because we become wiser or there's a little voice in the back of our mind saying, hey, you don't have time for this anymore. We are more confident in going straight to the point and communicating directly and honestly, and we are less prone to roll out a game and play hard to get or act less interested than what we actually are. So that was the first reason. The second reason is that you are more independent. In midlife, most of you have established a career. You have a home that you maybe even own. You have financial stability. You have a friend circle, and you have all your personal hobbies and passions. You have an established life. There's less pressure to find someone to build that life with. You know it's actually okay that you already have so much in your life, and you don't want to let go of that or change that. You also expect him, your future partner, to have that as well. And I heard someone explain this as when you are dating in a young age, it's like doing a startup together. You create something from scratch together. Whereas when you're dating in midlife, it's more like you're merging two companies. They are already well established, and you are both aware that you have a history and you have past relationships, and you don't expect that everything is erased and you start from scratch. You have baggage and maybe also children, and now the challenge is to find a way to have a shared life and also each have your separate life. So you might not even want to live together, and I talk to so many women who want their own space and they're not ready to share their home with a man, but they do want to have a partner that they can share a part of their life with. And that is perfectly okay. The only thing that matters is that you agree on what you want to do in your relationship, that the two of you agree on what you want it to look like. Now, this thing, being more independent, also makes you less attached to the outcome, which is really important in dating. It's not urgent to find someone. Your life is already amazing without him. So you can be much more discerning. You can take your time and you can enjoy life at the same time, with or without a man. And this independence also gives you more confidence in many cases. You have already proven a lot of things to yourself in terms of career and building a life. You don't need to prove that anymore. You can lean back and enjoy the results of your hard work and tap yourself on the shoulders when you look at the things you have in your life. And this is, of course, not only material goods, but also friends, family, intellectual accomplishments, such as diplomas and so on. So the third reason is that now you are not looking for the one or someone to parent with. There's so much less pressure on the dating process and it's so much more fun. This time you are not looking for this one and only that you will build a family with or you will be with for life. You know that if you're single after 40 or 45, that there is more than one love in your life. Or maybe you don't know or believe that for sure yet, but you know that the idea of a lifelong partner is not something that works for everyone. In fact, around half of everyone in the western part of the world do not stay with the same partner their whole life. Statistics are quite similar between the United States and Europe. It is somewhere between 30 and 60% of the marriages that end in divorce, and the same goes for long-term relationships without marriage. In some countries, it's more accepted than others to have a long-term relationship without considering marriage, but the breakup rates are the same. Anyways, we know that it's very normal to not stay together for life, even if this was the intention to begin with. And if you're single in your 40s, then either you are on round 2, so to speak, or you just had some shorter relationships and now you're ready for a longer-term relationship. But you know that it is not the one. It is more the next one you're looking for. And that first part of your life where everything was created and built, you took your education, you started your career, and you found a place to live and so on. All that is over and now it's a different life. So now you are not looking for someone to share duties and responsibilities with, but more someone to have fun with, enjoy life with, go traveling, and also, of course, create a deep connection with. Now, this takes off a lot of pressure from both of you. It's no more like looking for an employee for your life. We are more in the fun, light, and playful area, and you are this independent woman who knows you don't need a man, but you want a man if he can add something to your life. So it's like the topping on the ice cream or the cherry on the cake is no longer the whole cake. But of course, if everything goes well, your partner might take up more space than the topping of an ice cream with time. but in the dating process, it's still more light and playful than when you're looking for someone to be parents with, for instance. So I love all this, and I think the more you can make dating fun and playful, the longer you can stay in the dating pool until you find someone who is right for you. There is already enough seriousness and responsibility in most strong independent women's life, so you don't need to add more heaviness. Now it's actually time to have fun. That doesn't mean completely lose your standards or go out with just anyone. It just means that the job you are looking to fill is more characterized by joy, adventure, meaning, and deep connection. So I also wanted to just talk a little bit about some of the negative beliefs that I hear about dating after 40-45-ish. And one of them that keeps coming up on a regular basis is the good ones are gone. And you could say that the pool is smaller because more people are in couples compared to when you were 20 or 25. But on the other hand, we now have the dating apps and they give you access to create much more connections. And that could very easily even out the fact that less people are single. So compared to if you think of how many people you could meet organically, even at the time when nobody was married, in most cases it is a lot fewer than the number you have access to through the apps. So it's actually not true that all the good ones are gone. And also, knowing the divorce and breakup statistics, we know that around 50% of those who are in a couple, whether they're married or not, at some point they're going to come back into the pool. And of course, there will be some of them that are the good ones, like you are also a good one. Another belief that I hear is that the dating apps have completely twisted our relationship with dating. And here, I think it's important to remember that some of the disadvantages that many people talk about regarding dating apps, they are not actually linked to the dating apps. They were also there before we had the dating apps. For instance, such a thing as ghosting. Now it has a name, and some talk about it as a phenomenon that came with the apps, but it was always there. We just didn't call it ghosting before. And it's the same as the people who have a fake profile or who are not actually single. Well, surprise, people lie about that in the real world too. And they lie about who they are in the real world too. Those are problems that were already there before the dating apps and that have always been part of dating. And then I hear some people say that when some guys play around and they don't want to commit, it's because the dating apps give them too many choices. And here I just want to say, there has always been players and there has always been guys who do not want to commit to anything and who have been opportunistic about women. And to be honest, some women do the same to men. So this is not something that is created by the dating apps. Some things have always been challenging in dating, and they are not more challenging now. It's not the apps that have created it. They just get the blame. Because most of you date through the apps, so that's where all the focus goes. The apps are actually neutral. They are just a technical platform to connect on. All kinds of tools can be used to your advantage or they can be used against you. So it's a bit like a knife. You can use it to cut vegetables or you can use it as a weapon. But we cannot blame the knife as we also cannot blame the dating apps. It is the way we use them. And when we talk about dating apps, because there are so many people on the dating apps, you see things in a more magnified scale. You see more fake profiles. You experience more guys that are not serious. But you also experience more guys that are serious. It's just that our brain doesn't notice that to the same extent. But because you have access to so many people through the apps, you see more of these things. And you want to ask yourself, would that also be possible before the dating apps? Would this be something that could have happened in real life? Could I have met a guy who was like that if I went to a party or to a bar? And would someone have lied to me or ghosted me, even if I didn't meet them on the dating apps? It is not about the dating apps. These problems have always been part of dating. So I personally have found midlife dating to be much more fun than dating in my 20s and 30s. And also because my confidence has grown so much stronger later in life. We live in a time where we are in general more open-minded and it has become more acceptable to not live the conventional lifelong marriage to the one and only lifestyle. And we can also be realistic and accept that humans grow and develop and not always in the same direction. And that has made it more easy to each have our journey. We have more possibilities for meeting a partner today, and we have more possibilities for creating different kinds of relationship today. So I think time and age has all leveled up to our advantage. So I hope you agree with me, at least on some of these points. And if you want my support in boosting your confidence and creating a customized love life that fits you and your idea of a midlife partnership, then I invite you to book a call with me to know more. And there's a link in the show notes as usual. This was all I had for you today. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, no matter if you're single or not, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are important in this world. Have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.